Hey, before we get started, just click that subscribe button for me. It helps me out a lot, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Here we go.
Well, hello, all my favorite people. I'm appreciative of all your smiling faces coming back to me. And here is another video of me speed painting. This time around, you are seeing me try out for the first time in a while drawing Pokemon characters, and more specifically, Adaman. I think that's how you say his name, from Pokemon ARCEUS. I have been playing the crap out of that game. I've been enjoying it so much. It has reinvigorated my love for Pokemon in such a large way, and I think it was exactly what the series needed. And to be honest, I have a lot of thoughts on the series that I will be sharing with you guys in a different video that's coming out much sooner than I could possibly imagine, which makes me a little nervous since it's going to be something a little newer. Definitely not going to be a speed paint, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. But I appreciate everybody coming back and watching, and we'll just go from there. Let's see here. So first off, let's just talk about the fact that it's the end of the month, end of February. Not a whole lot's going on. I mean, the only thing is the day that I decided to record this video, the new Pokemon game was announced, the Scarlet and Violet games, which is incredibly insane to me because those games are, it's such a good looking game. Like they just took everything that they did for Arceus clearly as a test and then just shoved it super deep. And then the Spain vibes that you're getting from that game, ooh, immaculate. I'm super excited for that one. Actually, I was super excited for this one, but even more so this one that's coming up this year. Most Pokemon games I think I've seen in like almost main series entries. Like I think that Shining Diamond and Pearl either came out the end of last year or the very beginning of this year, and then Arceus came out the very beginning of this year. Then the end of this year we are getting another one, and it's a main series one of the ones that are named after a stone, so that's always going to be exciting. I'm super excited for that. But this game in particular gave me a lot of inspiration, especially this character specifically, just because of how he was designed. I loved the feudal style that they used. I loved how they went back in time and just how everything looked. So overall, I really just wanted to take a moment to take appreciation towards my favorite character in that entire game, because he was the best designed character by far. His color palette, his personality type, like everything that they had for this character, as much as they possibly could, considering the game was, in terms of character development, a little lackluster. But most Pokemon games are pretty lackluster when it comes to their character development, I would say. But what else is going on? I mean, making videos is a big thing. I love making videos right now. It's been a lot of fun. I have a new space. I just moved house, so that's been a big piece of it, just trying to get everything reorganized, everything put together. I released the last video, I think was the last video I ever created inside my apartment, and now I live in a house, so that was a big step up. And going forward, everything's going to be in a new office. I had an office before, but I'm going to have another office now, and I'm getting some new stuff to put into the office, some stuff that's going to help me create videos, and some stuff that's just overall quality of life kind of thing. So pretty excited about that. But yeah, no, art's been a big one for me. Art's been keeping me sane. It's been a pretty turbulent time. Successful but turbulent for me, so it has been interesting. Lots of downs and highs and lows and things like that. So I've been pretty excited about it all, honestly. Now, what I loved about creating this whole series right here, which is drawing more Pokemon stuff, because there's gonna be more Pokemon stuff obviously with the new games coming out and everything, is just I actually started drawing Pokemon. That was the very first thing I ever drew. I had a guide for Emerald, and I got it for my birthday. It was used. My older brother gave it to me in a copy of Emerald, which I still have somewhere, and I just played it over and over again. And I looked in the back of the manual where it was a gold mine, because a lot of the Pokemon manuals had it had all the Pokemon and all their types and their moves and when they evolved and things like that, but they didn't have the artwork for some of them. A lot, at least the older ones, the first 3 gens. The first 2 gens of the guidebooks just had their sprites in the game, in the back of the book. The third one, Emerald, and Ruby and Sapphire, those books were very special at the time because those were the ones that had the actual character art for the Pokemon instead of the sprites. So I actually got a full professionally made view of each Pokemon and what they're supposed to look like and not just the sprite versions of them. So when I would say 10, I would get a chance to go over everything, go through the back of the book, choose a Pokemon I thought would be easy. I started with really easy ones. I started with like Nadu, a little ball bird, or I started with Sharpedo because basically he was a pyramid shape. He basically was just a rounded triangle with a fin. So I would start with that easy kind of stuff, and slowly, as I drew, I started drawing more of the complicated ones, like the Reggies, which aren't that complicated. They're just more shapes. Or I would do some of them way more like Salamence, things like that, things that just had a little more details. Funny enough, the ones with more details are also just the ones that are also rounded off characters, because they made it's absolutely genius how they design Pokemon, because they make them in such a rounded way that it's easy for them to recreate the artwork for them, just due to the fact that certain ones will have points to them, like a lot of pointed edges, like Vaporeon that I'm drawing had a lot of pointed edges with the curves, but overall they make a lot of curves in the Pokemon that they draw to make them easier to kind of reconstruct and re-put in, because it's more bouncy shapes that are easier to recreate, which I think is such a good move when it comes to making a series that is about animals and then also about made up animals. Because if you make too complicated of shapes, then it's going to be hard to animate them in the first place. And knowing Pokemon, you needed to make Pokemon even after the first couple of generations that were going to be easy to recreate, due to the fact that most of the Pokemon that you see were going to end up in the show. And about here, if you're looking at what's going on, it is my tablet having a hard time keeping up with the capture. So some of it seems a little blotchy, where it's like just magically spots of color are coming in. It's because that my computer is trying to process while I'm drawing, and it's having a hard time doing both. But it's getting there. I'm making it work the best I can. I actually had to put some of the process of me drawing this off of the entire video, just because it just was basically like seconds of nothing, and then just another second, just a whole bunch of color just would magically pop in, and I was just like, that looks awful. So I had to adjust this video as much as I can so I can still get the most out of like my drawing process, because my drawing process, I think, is not unique in any sort of way, but I think it's been progressing quite a bit. I think this is one of my favorite pieces so far, especially in terms of the fact that I love the shapes that I used, I love the body language that I used, and I think that the line art turned out pretty solid. So this has been by far one of my best experiences drawing in most recent times, so I've been pretty excited about that as well. But back to what I was saying here is just Pokemon has been a big influence on my life. Pokemon is a big influence on most 90s kids' lives. If you play video games, if you were one of those kids where your parents made you do things besides play video games, it's not really going to be something that you know a whole lot about. But if you were, even if you were just like, you were aware of Pokemon, it was one of those things where it had some form of influence on your life. I know that for a lot of kids, I've met quite a few that honestly couldn't give two coots about Pokemon, and that's totally fine. I mean, I don't think it's the greatest thing ever. I didn't love the last like 3 or 4 games before Arceus came out, so I am a bit of an outlier in terms of like being consistently in love with Pokemon. That's why I switch between Digimon and Pokemon a lot, because I think that Digimon, while is a much more underrated kind of monster catching game, it has a lot more consistencies to it because the games are fun. Like, if you play the games, like I play Cyber Sleuth all the time, and I played the Digimon World Adventure games when I was a kid. I always had a lot of fun just because while the designs were absolutely ridiculous, and it was very clear they were going for a much edgier look than Pokemon was, it had always this consistent feeling of fun because it was more like a traditional Japanese RPG turn-by-turn versus Pokemon, which had its own little flair to the turn-by-turn style. And I always thought I appreciated that it was unique in its own ways compared to the Pokemon series. And how could you argue with Agumon? I mean, you want a dinosaur, little dinosaur thing turned into a robot. How could you ever pass that up? I think that people who sleep on Digimon are absolutely whack, but it's not about Digimon. It's not about Digimon, it's about Pokemon. Pokemon's cool. Vaporeon isn't my favorite, but it is one of the Pokemon that Adaman uses because he uses the Eevee evolutions, which I think is dope. But, considering the color schemes that I was going with, Vaporeon was the obvious choice to make. So, everything here is about being finished up. I mean, there's not too much more that I'm going to be adding to this. But, yeah, I got a lot of things going in the works here. I know this video has always been, these kind of videos have always been ranty, and they've been bouncing back and forth, but I like just sharing my thoughts. I think that's been my most important goal with making these videos, is just kind of talking. I don't get a lot of time to talk to people, so it's just one of those things where as long as I can share my thoughts, it is a very relieving sort of feeling. So I like just talking and knowing that people listen and seeing how you guys react to it, because I really enjoy making these videos. So I'm going to be making a lot more pieces that are, and in terms of videos, a lot more pieces that are entertainment based. I want to try my hand at things that are a bit more, I wouldn't say entertaining, because I like my videos. I would say just more creative than a speed paint, because as much as it is creative because I'm being artistic and I'm drawing things out of my head and I'm thinking of new things to draw, I think overall other kinds of videos are definitely the way to go. But here's the finished product, and that's all the time I got. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'm flubbing on my words. I hope you watch the next video. I hope you watch the previous videos. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.